Good evening. I'd like to call this, am I on or no? There. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Daviess County Fiscal Court to order. We are, for those who are watching at home, we are at OCTC at the BLANDFORD Lecture Hall. And this is our first meeting of November. Today is November 7, 2024. Commissioner Castlen, if you'd do the opening prayer and lead us in the pledge.
Please bow your heads and pray with me. God in heaven, as we come before you today to serve our community, we ask for your continued strength and inspiration. We ask for your blessings for our community and our country, and to lead us all to work together in support of doing what is best for one another, regardless of personal beliefs. Please give us the grace and strength to live the words from the prayer of St. Francis, as he said, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant me that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance as we face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner. Brooke, before we get going, I just want to say I overlooked this last time, and I was a little embarrassed, but I want to thank Dr. Scott Williams, who has made this facility available to us as we continue with our work that's going on in the courtroom. And just appreciate his generosity very much to make this. Yes, and thank you, Brooke. And Commissioner Marksberry, for those who are here, Commissioner Marksberry is joining us via Zoom. So welcome, Commissioner. So, Brooke,
Ready.
Go ahead, Brooke.
1, consideration for presentation. Proclaim November 2024 as Diabetes Awareness Month.
Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. If I could ask for everyone, just bear with me. The proclamation is fairly lengthy that we have here, so I shall read this as best I can. Whereas 38.4 million Americans are estimated to have diabetes, diagnosed or undiagnosed, including nearly 486,200 Kentuckians, 13.8% of our state population, reporting that they have diabetes, making Kentucky the 7th highest in the United States for the prevalence of diabetes, a serious disease that has no cure and can be associated with complications that threaten both length and quality of life. And whereas an additional 101,000 people in Kentucky have diabetes that don't know it, greatly increasing their health risks. And there are 1,168,000 people in Kentucky, 38.4% of the adult population, who have pre-diabetes with blood glucose levels that are higher than normal, but yet not high enough to be diagnosed with diabetes. And every year, an estimated 20,700 people in Kentucky are diagnosed with diabetes. And whereas diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death by disease in Kentucky and in the nation, and diabetes can be associated with complications such as blindness, heart disease, kidney failure, stroke, and leg and foot amputations. And diabetes costs Kentucky over $5 billion in total medical expenditures, lost work, and lost wages each year. And whereas an increasing community awareness of risk factors and symptoms related to prediabetes and diabetes, as well as evidence-based interventions, can improve outcomes and quality of life among those with and at risk of diabetes, can increase the likelihood that they will seek our education, support, and treatment early and in the course of the disease itself. And whereas structured lifestyle change programs, such as national diabetes prevention programs, have been proven to prevent and delay type 2 diabetes in adults, with prediabetes and accredited and recognized diabetes self-management education and support program that support appropriate self-care and behavior change strategies to critically manage diabetes has been shown to improve diabetes outcomes. Now, therefore, I, Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Diabetes Awareness Month and urge all citizens to help fight this disease and its life-threatening complications by increasing awareness of the risk factors for diabetes, making healthy lifestyle choices, and by providing care and treatment for those living with diabetes. Presented in Daviess County, Kentucky, this 7th day of November 2024, Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive. And I believe, Judge, that Merritt, you are here to accept?
She is.
Very good.
Yeah. You want to say a few words, and then we'll get our picture taken with you.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you, Judge Castlen and commissioners, for the opportunity to be here. I think when we hear those numbers, they're staggering. And when we hear of the complications, they're very serious complications that can be very scary. The good news is, while 13.8%, it's estimated, of adult Kentuckians have diabetes, it's estimated as of 2021, about 9.2 adult Daviess Countyans have diabetes. So for those 9.2% of the population, that isn't good news, but the fact that our numbers have traditionally remained below the state average is good news. What do we attribute this to? I think the overall healthier lifestyles in this community that we've championed for a number of years. Access to parks and many things that other communities don't have that access to, but at the same time, you don't rest on your laurels either. We have to continue to maintain that awareness, assure that education is accessible, and we're fortunate to live in a community where that's the case. What else? I believe that pretty much wraps up the remarks. The key thing, I think, is to remain vigilant, continue to monitor our own lifestyle habits personally, with not just access to physical activity, but choosing healthier foods, following our suggestions that we might get from our provider around taking our medications, making sure we're living overall healthier lifestyles, seeking out support networks when we're stressed, managing our stress, getting plenty of sleep. All of those things, while it seems like they roll off the tip of my tongue, they're all important, that overall encompassing healthy lifestyle for avoiding the development of diabetes and other serious chronic diseases. So thank you so much for the recognition for diabetes awareness. We do appreciate it. And at this point, if there are any questions from you, Judge Castlen, or from members of Fiscal Court.
The only thing I'll say is I want to thank you for your work in this part of our healthcare system throughout Daviess County and throughout our community, because I do know that it's important, and I know there's a number of other folks here that work in the healthcare field, and thank you to all of you for the work you do. And we've got another proclamation about health, so but thank you.
Thank you. And let me say one thing before I forget. So it's an all-encompassing effort. While I do represent the health department, and a big part of the work we do is around assurance And that simply means we may not provide the service, but we are assuring that it's provided by providers such as Owensboro Health or through medical offices and the various people that are part of this team. But it is an all-encompassing effort, and I just represent a portion of that.
I understand.
Oh, thanks. I hate to put you on the spot.
No.
If you don't know the answer, that's fine. I'm just curious. So it said 101,000 people, kind of a specific figure there, that don't know they have it. How's that figure arrived at?
That's a very good question, and it's estimated that 1 in 3 adults in this country, in this state, have prediabetes, and 9 out of 10 don't know they have it. So they base that then on the population of each state. And we rely on the American Diabetes Association and the Centers for Disease Control for those statistics. And typically, they are tracking along pretty closely. They don't change dramatically year to year, but I go back and review the numbers just to make sure something hasn't changed a bit. So, does that answer your question?
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Let's get our picture, if that's all right.
Take 2. 1, 2, 3. Take one more. 1, 2, 3. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next
B,
item.
B, proclaim November 2024 as Lung Cancer Awareness Month.
The Daviess County, Kentucky Proclamation, Office of the County Judge Executive. Whereas the American Cancer Society estimates over 230,000 new cases of lung cancer and over 125,000 deaths from lung cancer occurred in the United States in 2024. And whereas lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States for both women and men, and whereas the state of Kentucky ranks 48th in the nation in new lung cancer cases, according to the American Lung Association, and whereas the rate of new lung cancer cases in Kentucky is 84.8 per 100,000, which is significantly higher than the national average of 54.6, affecting many of our friends, family, and neighbors right here in Daviess County. And whereas 5-year survival rates increase significantly when lung cancer is detected in its earliest stages, and whereas low-dose CT screenings, robotic technology, and smoking cessation programs are helping local residents find lung cancer early and prevent it altogether. Now, therefore, I, Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Lung Cancer Awareness Month in Daviess County and encourage all citizens to learn about early detection and prevention, take proactive steps to optimize the health of their lungs, and remember all those who are struggling with this disease or who have lost their lives. Presenting in Daviess County, Kentucky, the 7th day of November 2024, signed and sealed, Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive. And I believe we have Dr. Brazier here with us to accept this. If you'd like to make a few comments, and then we'll do the presentation.
So, thank you so much for shining light on this very important issue. On behalf of the Owensboro Health Hospital, the Pulmonary Oncology Department, the Lung Cancer Screening Program, the more we can get the word out, the better. It's devastating to watch families and patients go through advanced lung cancer diagnosis and treatment. And lung cancer is so dangerous not because of what it is, because you don't typically know you have it until it's very advanced. And so if you have a small nodule in the lung, you may not know you have that for up to a couple of years. You don't have a lot of pain receptors in the lungs, so you don't know it's there. And by the time you're having symptoms, It's fairly advanced and hard to treat, and outcomes are not as great. So recognizing people in our community that are at high risk, smoking history, family history, getting them into these lung cancer screening programs really saves lives. Over the last 8 to 10 years in our community, we've seen the majority of lung cancer being diagnosed at stage 3, stage 4, to now being diagnosed at stage 1, stage 2, because we're finding these small cancers, we're confirming a diagnosis, and patients are able to have, curative options with surgery and radiation without chemotherapy. So can't thank you enough for shining a light on this important issue for our community.
Thank you. I have a question regarding early diagnosis, and you mentioned specifically if you have a family history. And I do. My 2 oldest siblings, one passed away from lung cancer, the other has it right now. And to your point of it being discovered late, it was stage 4 for the one that has it right now. Just curious for others like myself and others that have maybe a genetic predisposition, what is the early detection avenue to?
So the vast majority of patients that have lung cancer at high risk for developing lung cancer have a significant smoking history of at least a pack a day for 20 years or 20 pack year smoking history over a particular age. It's fairly rare for people under the age of 50 without a significant smoking history to develop cancer. So we try to screen people that are at highest risk. If you have a family history, if you have any respiratory symptoms, those are important. Smoking history is important, but also we live in an environment that leads to a lot of abnormalities in our lungs. You get fungal infections around this area, and so if you screen too many people, you'll start finding little nodules, and you'll get biopsies and have complications. So you got to be careful. You see too many doctors will keep finding things wrong with you. So there's an other side. You don't want to overscreen and do unnecessary procedures, and so we really want to focus on those high risk individuals, smoking history, family history, to make sure we're not doing harm.
Gotcha. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I wanted to say thank you for that this actually happens. Screenings more frequently now. The judge's brother, who's my dad, he was a smoker, but he's also a Vietnam veteran and died of lung cancer, according to the VA, from the chemicals he was exposed to. But still, it was a long time from the time he had symptoms until they actually tested him for anything, which could have helped to extend his life and maybe made him more comfortable. But still, just glad to hear that that's happening more frequently now.
Absolutely, and I think in the last year we've screened. I think we did about 3,500 lung cancer screening CTs just in our communities.
Thank you.
Well, yes. Commissioner Connor, anything? All right. If we could, we'll get our bishop. And you all do not have to stay and hang around for the rest of the meeting, so thank you. Oh, okay.
2, consideration for approval. A, minutes of October 17, 2024, Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. We've all had the minutes for several days to review. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
B, all claims for all departments.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We've all got the bills due and payable by the county. Do you have any questions for the treasurer? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
C, Paradise Park Regional Industrial Development Authority Incorporated investment request.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge, the Paradise Park Regional Industrial Development Authority, or PPRID, is a partnership of Daviess, Hopkins, McLean, Muhlenberg, and Ohio counties that is located in Muhlenberg County. Each county has a 1/6 share in the site, with the host county having a 1/3 share. PPRID applied for and was awarded a Kentucky Product Development Initiative grant in the amount of $745,000 to make the site more marketable, with the proposed work including site clearing, demolition, and road extensions. The grant requires a 1-to-1 match. So among other minor funding sources, PPRID is requesting an investment from each partner respective to their percentage share to cover the differential, with Daviess County's requested total being $106,164. The site has an equipment manufacturer set to occupy the modified space, and at their current employee and payroll projections, each partner will receive its investment back over an estimated 4 years through the 1% occupational tax for the site. The investment would be paid from the Economic Development Fund if approved. I see no issues.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Go ahead, Commissioner Conder.
Thank you, Judge. Treasurer Johnson, do you happen to know how long Daviess County Fiscal Court has actually participated or been a part of Paradise?
I would have to get you a specific date.
And I believe it's been at least, 20 years, or it's been a long time.
It's been a very long time.
Been a long time. And this investment seems to be the first time that actually has a return on investing in industrial parks. And sometimes you got to build them and take that. So it's been a long time, at least 20 years since any money has, I think, been given back, and an assurance, it looks like, of at least 4 years. That's a good deal. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
D, Plan Year 2025 Health Insurance Premium Rates.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
These are the health insurance premium rates for plan year 2025 for employees of Daviess County Fiscal Court. The Fiscal Court's health insurance is with the State of Kentucky Employees Health Plan, or KEHP. There are no health insurance premium increases for 25. The only change is that the state has added a high deductible health plan to their benefits selection, as highlighted in the open enrollment notice that was sent to all employees. I request your approval.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson? No. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
E, contract with Brandstetter, Carroll, Incorporated for the Daviess County Public Safety Facility Project and Design Services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
This contract is for the design and project services to produce plans for the construction of a single multi-purpose public safety facility that would serve as a centrally located third fire station, while also housing the Sheriff's Office Patrol Division, Backup 911 Dispatch Operations, the Emergency Management Agency, and the Coroner's Office. This is a large capital project the court has evaluated since coming into office, with an estimated total construction cost of approximately $13 million. Brandstetter Carroll Incorporated's proposed fee is 6% of the total cost of construction, which would be approximately $780,000 from the estimate. This fee is within the expected range given the type, scope, and complexity of the project. I see no issues.
Any questions from the court?
No.
I think it's great.
Any questions from the public? Chief, you care to speak to I know you've been, you've spoken to the media, but if you would, for the public, talk a little bit about the increased run volume, if you would.
Yes, Judge. So over the last, I've been working here for about 26 years now, and each year our run volume continues to rise across the county, and as we build more on the east end and the west end both, more calls go to those far-reaching corners. So, with this addition, if it comes to fruition, we'll be able to get help quicker to each end. With this being more centrally located, we may have a higher run volume on the east or on the west side, but we'll have that backup there a little bit quicker with the addition to this station. So it will provide us better manpower, better coverage for our community, and to get them help quicker as we face these times.
Thank you. And Sheriff, I'll invite you if you care to say anything since you would be, have some folks located there as well.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. I'll just briefly, the patrol division being in the courthouse downtown, I've spoken to several of you about it. That's about as far away as we can be from where we need to be. So not have to traverse the entire length of the city to get to the county to answer calls would be very helpful for us. It would also free up additional parking downtown, which is needed for the public. It would, emergency driving is dangerous when we have to drive lights and sirens to get places. So having to cross town, puts us and the public at a little bit of danger. So being able to cut that out would be great too. So I just want to thank you, each of you, for your commitment to public safety. It's noticed. I know the chief and I are grateful for all of your efforts. So thank you for considering this.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
F, contract with Axiom Architecture for solid waste maintenance building design services.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Ms. Sturgeon.
Yes, Judge. This is the contract for Axiom Architecture to produce the drawings and specifications for use to bid a new heavy equipment maintenance building at the West Davis County landfill. Several of our larger heavy equipment units are too large for the current maintenance building and must be repaired outdoors. This new building should suit all of maintenance's current needs. We only require service items 1 through 7 in the amount of $22,750. This project is budgeted and the design fee is within the expected range. I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Sturgeon? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
G, contract with JKS Architecture for the Davis County Detention Center renovation project and design services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Mr. Johnson.
In Fiscal Court Session 39 of 23, the court approved a contract with JKS Architecture for a comprehensive facility report of the Davis County Detention Center to provide options for necessary facility updates. This contract is for the design and project services to produce plans for the renovation and addition to Building 1 of the Davis County Detention Center to address civil, structural, architectural, and mechanical issues the facility is experiencing due to age, per the report. Total estimated cost of the renovation and addition is approximately $35 million. Building 1 was constructed in 2001 and is a 70,800 square foot facility with 482 beds. The reorientation and addition associated with this project would result in a total area of 102,400 square feet with 80 more inmate beds, increasing capacity to 562 beds in Building 1. With the other buildings which do not require immediate attention, that results in a total licensed bed capacity of 744. JKS Architecture has provided studies, architectural design, and project management services for many detention facilities throughout the Commonwealth. They have proposed a fee of 7% of the total cost of construction, approximately $2.45 million based on the estimate. This fee is within the expected range given the type, scope, and complexity of the project. I see no issues.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Commissioner Condor.
No questions for Treasurer Johnson, but just as a commentary. These are two large capital projects that are being evaluated and evaluated deeply. I believe this fiscal court has ever since we came in, talked about both of these projects. The one being the public safety, that you see that. You see our fire, you see our sheriffs, you see them. With the jail, you don't see them. They're behind the walls taking care of those that are of inmates that are trying to be rehabilitated to help them. And sometimes that's not necessarily a project that the public can really get behind, but it's needed. It's not necessarily wanted, it is needed. And it's one of those issues that hopefully everybody understands, that not only do we want to be supportive of all of our first responders, but we really want to be supportive of those we don't see every day, because it is a hard job to be a jailer every day to deal with inmates. It truly is. So hopefully this can move forward. Hopefully the funding is appropriate also for both projects. where there isn't a burden on any of the taxpayers. That's down the road, but hopefully we get there. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. I see Jailer Magdalene with us. If you'd like to come up and say a few words, be glad to hear from you.
Good evening. I just want to express my gratitude to you, Judge, and Commissioners, and our Treasurer, too, just for remaining proactive with this. As Commissioner Condor said, a discussion about increased funding to the jail is not always the most popular topic, but at the end of the day, it involves community safety, and all along with that, the security of the staff and the inmates. So I just want to express my gratitude to each of you for considering this potential project.
You're very welcome. I'm going to just take a moment, since we're talking about the jail. For those who don't know, constitutionally, each county has a jailer. Not every county has a jail, and some counties will use a neighboring jail, just as McLean County did for some time under my predecessor, under the prior court, where we house their inmates. But what the point I want to make to the public is, and many people don't know this, when someone is incarcerated, until they go to trial, until they're convicted and they become a state inmate, 100% of their care is the handled by the county where they were arrested and where they are being held. And so for us, when we have the county inmates who are awaiting trial, and I'll just use the most extreme example I can think of, is we had the triple murder trial, and that went on for about 4 years before they came to trial, I believe, close to 4 years, and ultimately they both pleaded guilty, and we don't get the Daviess County taxpayers bore the burden of their care, their transportation back and forth to Frankfurt every time they went there for testing or whatever. And so the jail's a huge cost. One of the reasons that we have a jail the size we do is because we can have both state and federal inmates that help. We get compensated by the feds and also by the state, by the Commonwealth of Kentucky, that help offset the subsidy that fiscal court has to give the jail to operate. So, Jailer, I think you've done a great job with helping us manage costs, and appreciate your efforts, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioner.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
H, facility use agreement with Owensboro Sports Center for the November 2024 general election.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
You got a motion and a second? Mr. Johnson.
This is the standard use agreement for the clerk's office to utilize the sports center for the 2024 general election per the county clerk's election plan. They proposed an estimated total of $6,100, which is the same as prior agreements. The agreement requires court approval since insurance requirements are met by the county's policy, and the judge executive must sign. All other locations that did not require use agreements will simply invoice the county at their regular rates, which range from $50 to $300. You'll notice this agreement is already executed. The contract was delivered late this year, so the court's approval today will be to ratify the judge's signature. I would recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
The only thing I want to say is thank you to the city and to the Sports Center for making this site available to us. There were quite a few folks that voted at the Sports Center, and I believe just about every day of voting was maybe an hour's wait. So anyway, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I, professional service agreement with American Engineers Incorporated regarding Old Hartford Road Bridge over Panther Creek South.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Duper.
Thank you, Judge. This is a design service agreement with AEI that will be performing engineering services for the entire bridge deck on Old Hartford Road over Panther Creek South. This bridge deck is currently, this bridge is currently in agreement with KYTC with the Rural Municipal Aid Office, in which we signed an agreement with the Emergency Aid Fund. The agreement cost is $19,000 for the entire new bridge design. I recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Duper?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you.
J, Memorandum of Understanding between Administrative Office of the Courts and Daviess County Fiscal Court for the HVAC system replacement at the Morton J. Holbrook Judicial Center.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Mr. Johnson?
This Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, details the responsibilities of each party for the replacement of the HVAC system at the Morton J. Holbrook Judicial Center. Bid number 242530, which appears on this agenda for consideration for approval in the amount of $3,178,500, will be reimbursed in full by the Administrative Office of the Courts per this MOU. This project has been approved by the state legislature and AOC, and all items are set to move forward with the court's approval. I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
K, award bid number 2425-30, Morton J. Holbrook Judicial Center HVAC replacement project.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon?
Yes, Judge, we received one bid and recommend award to the only responsive bid submitted by DeBra Kemple Incorporated for the replacement of the HVAC system at the Morton J. Holbrook Judicial Center in the total amount of $3,178,500. This is the budgeted replacement of a system outside of its useful lifespan and will be reimbursed in full by the Administrative Office Courts as outlined in the previously discussed memorandum of agreement. There were minor exceptions to the specification, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions for Ms. Sturgeon?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
L, renew bid number 2223-29.2, elevator maintenance services.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon?
Yes, Judge, this renewal is for the preventative maintenance service for elevators located at the courthouse, Judicial Center, and Kirtley Annex. All of our service contracts have a provision where if both parties agree, the contract can be renewed for an additional contract term up to a maximum of 4 renewals. This service contract bid is available for renewal for January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. And after meeting with maintenance management, we recommend renewal given that services have been rendered to our satisfaction, and rebidding the service would likely result in a significant price increase. This is the second renewal.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
M, declare the following as surplus inventory: 2006 Ford F-550 response unit.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon?
Yes, Judge. Daviess County Fire Chief Smith has requested this unit be declared surplus so that it can be sold to offset the expense of a purchase of a replacement unit. This 2006 Ford F-550 was purchased by the Utica Volunteer Fire Department. However, is standard for units purchased by volunteer stations to be included in the county's inventory. Utica Volunteer Fire Department has recently procured a replacement unit, and the city of Morganfield is interested in purchasing this aging unit. This would require the court to declare the item surplus in accordance with KRS 67.0802 and our administrative code. I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions for Ms. Sturgeon? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
N, promote Heath Stallings to Building and Grounds Supervisor effective October 27th of 2024.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to congratulate Heath on his promotion and also thank him for his past tenure, and hopefully his long tenure with us here at Fiscal Court. Any other comments? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
O, promote Will McCready for Engineer effective November 10th of 2024.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Want to congratulate Will on your promotion here, and also thank you for your service to our community. And if you want, hang around afterwards, we'll get our picture with you. All right. Yes, sir. Anyone else? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
P, appoint Audrey Collins to the Steering Committee Advisory Board as judicial representative effective September 1st of 2024 through August 31st of 2027.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
I want to thank Ms. Collins for agreeing to serve in this capacity. I believe normally we have it on here, but we don't this time. I thought Judge Payne used to be our judicial rep.
She was.
That's what I thought. So that's fine. That's fine. I want to thank Judge Payne. She stepped out when she moved up to the. I'm sorry, Judge Jones.
Lisa Payne Jones.
Yes. So Lisa Payne Jones, our brand new elected to the Court of Appeals. That's who I'm trying to say, but I want to say thank you for your service on this committee. She gave up that position when she was appointed to the appeals court. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Q, appoint Dr. Chris Gaddis to the Owensboro Health Incorporated Board to complete the unexpired term of Nathan Berry, served 1.5 terms, effective November 7th of 2024 through October 31st of 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Dr. Gaddis for agreeing to serve on this board, and also want to thank Nathan Berry for his past service to our community on this board. And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
3, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court. There is none that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
B, public comments.
This is a part of the meeting where we invite the public to come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you're welcome to speak on any item other than what was already covered on the agenda.
I'm Claudia Ramish. My address is 2215 Bluff here in Owensboro. I rise today to invite you all to participate in the 14th Annual Faith Fest, Owensboro, which begins tomorrow. This year we have a really fine lineup of events, which will include a number of different Christian communities, the Disciples of Christ, the Presbyterians, the Catholics, the Missionary Baptists, the Latter-day Saints, and the Antiochian Orthodox. We will also include the Jewish community, the Muslims, the Hindus, the Jains, the Buddhists, the UUs, and 2 interfaith organizations. It's kind of a big deal. We're really excited. We have 2 collaborative events this year. The Muslim community and the Disciples of Christ will be having a dialogue event tomorrow at the mosque to open the 2.5 weeks of events. That's at 1:30 in the afternoon. And then the Catholics and the Latter-day Saints are going to put a concert on together, and that will be towards the end of the series. It is the 14th year. It is a different group every year, but it seems to be expanding. And we will conclude with the Interfaith Thanksgiving service on the 24th of November. And that is actually, it's in its 17th year. So we invite you all to come. faithfest.org will give you all of the details if you weren't in a place where they had brochures available to you. And I also have them in the back of my car, and I'm happy to hand them out to anybody.
Thank you. If you could say your name again.
Claudia Ramish.
Right, Claudia.
Ramisch.
Thank you. And thank you for the invitation. Anyone else from the public to speak to any item not on the agenda?
C, comments by Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. I was still looking through the brochure here, and if you've never been in the building, the Torah study on Thursday, the 14th, to be inside of Temple, I've never been in that building. I mean, it's locked up most of the time. So if you just want to see what it really looks like inside, I noticed it, and I just wanted to point that out. And I have to give a lot of accolades to our Parks Department, especially on the event side. The Halloween event that we recently had just knocked it out of the park. I mean, there were cars parked, lined up all the way to the bypass, actually onto the bypass to get in and celebrate. And from what I understand, it was one of the first events that Fiscal Court has put on where you really didn't have any Facebook negative comments or anything else that happened. So that tells me real quick, the event went off really, really well. So thanks to that staff to do so. Last, we just went through our election this week, and I have to tell you, as Judge Castlen pointed out about the sports center, visiting some of our voting centers, I'm so proud of our people. You attended, you showed up, you were mostly kind. There were some incidents, but they were probably expected as to whatever happens on voting. But it was awesome to see us exercise one of the greatest rights we can as citizens, and that's to vote. Maybe we can get up to 70% one of these days, but it was absolutely awesome to see how we as a community came together really as a community event to do something like that. It's just really touching. Lastly, I wear purple today. After the election, red and blue come together. That makes purple. Purple now means you govern. You govern for the people. How you were elected is that purpose. And that's why I wear purple. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marksberry.
Thank you, Judge. I just wanted to say that this election has caused some division among us, and I just want everyone to please remember this, that your friends and your family are so much more important than politics. And I know it's hard, but I think we should all try to keep that in mind as we go into the holiday season and just count our blessings. Also, I wanted to speak to, it's a little hard to hear and everything is delayed with Zoom, but I wanted to thank our sheriff and the deputies and our fire chief and the firefighters and the jailer and his staff for all that they do. And, I just want to say I'm all for improving public safety any way we can. So I'm excited about the new projects for that going forward. And also, lastly, we're actively working on improvements for our animal shelter. I would like to thank the citizens and ask for their continued patience as we navigate this issue. It will be for the betterment of our citizens and our animals. Good news is coming. I am confident in this. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Castlen.
Thanks, Judge. So I want to remind everyone that Veterans Day is this coming Monday, November 11th. One of the many ways our community will be celebrating Veterans Day is with the Owensboro-Daviess County Veterans Day Parade. And the parade will be this Saturday, November the 9th. It starts at 2 o'clock. Starting location is going to be at 2nd and Crittenden. Then it goes north on Davis Street, and then it finishes up on Veterans Boulevard where it goes to Frederica. So I want to invite everyone in our community to come out and support our veterans and the many organizations that are in the parade. Next, the Marine Corps birthday is Sunday, November 10th. Not that matters to many people, but Larry's granddaughter and I definitely matters to. This year, the Marine Corps will be 249 years old. I'll be sure to celebrate that one too. And last, although not as old as the Marine Corps, Judge Castlen's birthday is Monday, November 11th. He'll be 63. Happy birthday, Judge.
Thank you. No, I'm not as old. Anyway, I want to continue to just say thank you to those who are participating in our Cash for Trash program. Just want to recognize tonight Apollo High School, Air Force ROTC. They were in the claims. These are the ones that were in the claims. We approved our second item on the agenda. Christ Gospel Church of Owensboro, Knights of Columbus, number 17247, Knights of Columbus, number 2074, Southside Fellowship Church, and then St. Mary's of the Woods School. They picked up a total tonnage of 47.5, 310 bags of trash, and they picked up trash for 36 miles of our county roadways. I too want to just mention on Veterans Day, I want to echo what I know there was a lot of division, you know, in the polls 50-50 as we were going into election day. And it struck me when I came into the court to vote at the sports center. And the only reason I went to vote with my wife and got out of the car is because it was a short line. Well, it was very deceptive. There was a short line outside, but when you stepped inside, the gentleman that was at the door said, "You got about 30 minutes from right here." And I'd been in line for about 15. And I thought, well, I'll just finish up here. So anyway, but as I went down the line, and it was about as long as this room is deep, and line down and line back, and I thought, you know, if you look at Facebook, you think, man, look at all these evil Harris voters and all these evil Trump voters line up here. And yet, we all look the same. We all look just like this group here. We're all just a bunch of people gathered together to vote. And Commissioner, to your point, we did come together as a community. And 60%, at least in the time that I've been paying attention, that's a pretty high turnout, even for a presidential election. And when you think back to the primary, when there was, about 13%, I think. So I was real proud of our community. And I want to say a big thank you to Leslie, our county clerk, Leslie McCarty, for her work, her staff's work, and for all of those who stepped forward to be poll workers. I mean, I was at the courthouse when they brought in the numbers and put them on the computer where people could watch from home as they scrolled through. And I didn't leave there until 7:30, and I know those people didn't leave till later because they had to do the write-ins. And so these people that work the polls, they got up early in the day, and they were there late into the evening. And I say thank you to all of them. And we are truly a blessed nation. And to Commissioner Castlen's point, the Veterans Day is November 11th. I'll just say one way, I've said over and over, one way we can show veterans we appreciate what they've done for us is to go vote. And we did that largely this past time. But when Monday comes around, anytime you see somebody, and quite honestly throughout the year, tell a veteran thank you for their service, because many of them haven't ever heard that. And I don't care how old they get or how young they might be, they appreciate the thank you. So just want to remind everybody, shelter reservations will be available for the 2025 park season starting, actually started this past Friday, November 1, 8 o'clock. You can go to our website and select park reservations or call the parks office and they'll walk you through it, or they'll do the reservation for you. I want to point out Whispering Wind at Panther Creek and Shelter Number 1 at Yellow Creek Park will be unavailable, as both of those are scheduled to be demoed and then rebuilt this year. The regular park season will run from April 1 to October 31, and last year the Parks and Recreation accepted over 600 shelter reservations. So you need to book early. Fees start at just $30 a shelter and accommodate up to 75 people. Anything else, Brooke, before I say we're done? Without further business, this meeting is adjourned.